I'm Josh, I'm from Galvsport in Western Australia. Behind me here is Gavin Nissan R32 GTR, RB28TT as it's otherwise known. Well, originally it came in, the engine was getting a bit on, it had done a lot of years of motorsport. It sort of evolved over time. Started off, you get the engine out and the engine bay looks a bit tatty, and then all of a sudden you're painting the car, and then new products came out. So the car actually started with an M800 and then now it's got an M130, and that wasn't even released when the car was actually, when the engine came out to begin with. So it's been a bit of a development over time, a lot of late night chats. A sort of retro redone sort of 32. The basis of that was just to do something different. The low mount twins are the best example because as you know, you put high mounts on them and they go great, but we're stuck with low mounts. We worked out how we could get them to work. The drive-by-wire is another example. It's just to do something different, be unique, be creative, and we could. So we thought we'd throw all of that together, and this is where we've come up with. So the basic rundown of the package, 2.8 litre spool crank. We've got custom made titanium conrods in there and custom made CP pistons, big compression, big dome pistons on it. Headwork, Ant Scarley did the head on the previous build. He did a really good job, and that's remained fairly well unchanged. So 272 step 2 HKS camshafts, associated bits and bobs, Nismo plenum, 6 boost manifolds, and we've put in individual EGTs, Garrett GDX low mounts in it, and then basically titanium everywhere else. I think the titanium parts were quite challenging to make. All the intercooler pipes, you can buy them as pie cuts. So big boxes of pie cuts kept rocking up so we could make the pipes. Brad Stacey did a fantastic job of welding them up for us. The Wiggins ferrules were probably the hardest part. To buy them out of Wiggins is like, no, it just doesn't really happen unless you're building planes, and we're not building planes. So we actually bought tube and then machined the ferrules out of tube. Which is a very interesting way to do it, and our machinist definitely lost a few tools in the process, but the end product worked out all right. No, the catch can out of titanium, we don't really know why that happened. That was just Gav and what Gav likes to do. The ITB with drive-by-wire setup was quite a challenge, getting it to control, and obviously you've got multiple angle changes in there from ratios and drive ratios, mainly for response, opportunity to then change how an engine behaves with using torque request as opposed to just a cable throttle. We consulted with High Speed Engineering, who did the machine work for us on the shaft and the billet bracket, then basically put it together out of an M3 drive-by-wire motor, and then everything else was made to suit. You can get other characteristics, auto blip on the down change with the Hollinger strain gauge knob, and then other characteristics of how the engine performs by bringing the turbos on, retarding timing, doing all sorts of stuff where modern cars are now getting advantages out of. Then integrate that into here using the Motec and see what we have. The electronics package of this car, yes, is quite involved. It's got an M130, PDM at the front for the front of the car, PDM in the rear to control the rear of the car, Motec C185 dash, which now controls the four-wheel drive, and all associated bits that go with that. Yeah, so it's a Bluetooth module under the dash that talks to the steering wheel, and we've got a number of buttons on there which we can program. We've got indicators and horn and whatnot, but it also controls the dash modes, and we can basically configure it however we want to, basically just on the CAN system. Gavin's car on the suspension side was always quite quick. We got the AST coilovers that he's previously run in that he's had a really good result with. Stepped it up a bit further, obviously with 32s and their rear end characteristics. They love bump steer, they love to go on all sorts of crooked angles but straight. Got an S15 frame in the car now, Z32 knuckles and supporting arms to go with that. Helps with the geometry, helps with bump steer and rear traction, so we don't have to run as much four-wheel drive to get the lap time out of the car. Yes, brakes are very serious on this car. Alcon's on the front, stop tech's on the back, and yeah, all set up to suit. Anything more we could do to the car? At this stage, probably not without going silly. I mean, it could have paddle shift, but you got to draw the line somewhere. But from a GTR perspective, it's got about everything that you can do, and we'll get it tuned up and see what sort of lap times. It's a balanced car anyway. It's you do big horsepower cars, real great torque and power band, but it's all about the balance. This is a circuit car, and we want drivability, compliance, response, as opposed to just outright horsepower and rego. Basically, we leave this event and keep plugging away and get it on the track as soon as we can so Gav can get back in the seat and get some seat time. Galvsport was started in 2012, basically was just doing stuff after hours, then I had a small workshop and it evolved from there. The reason why we got so many GTRs is quite an interesting story actually. At my old workshop where I was just doing everyday cars before Galvsport started, a customer drove down the road with a busted gearbox and pulled in just to a workshop, and then that was actually our first build. From the first Race Wars and that car being out, it sort of just evolved from there, and then we've just started building and developing bits and pieces, and a few more staff and a bigger premises, and away we go, really.